Hi guys, mayong adlaw. For this video, I will be presenting to you about multiplication and division of fractions. This is the continuation on the operations with fractions about addition and subtraction of fractions, which I presented in my previous video. So this is now the continuation, how to multiply fractions and how to divide fractions. So in multiplying fractions, there are only two things that you have to remember. We just simply multiply the numerator and multiply the denominator. But see to it that before multiplying, you have to cancel out all common factors that can be found in the numerator and denominator, so that when you arrive at the final answer, there is no need for you to reduce your answer to the lowest term. So one thing that we need to remember about multiplication of fractions is simply multiply the numerator and multiply the denominator. But check before multiplying if there are common factors. Okay, so let's try this first example. So we are given 5 over 6 times 3 over 2. So let's try to check among the numerators and denominators if there are factors that are common. Say for example, 5 is not factorable, 2 is not factorable, and 3 is also not factorable. But 6 can be factored out, which is 3 times 2. We can use the factor of 6 as 3 times 2 because we have 2 in the numerator. In this case, we can cancel out the factor 2. So when we write this, so we can rewrite 6 as 3 times 2. So wala na ng 6. We just simply rewrite 6 using 3 times 2, the factors 3 times 2, the purpose of which is to check or is to cancel out the common factors in the numerator. Since we have 2 in the numerator, so we can cancel out 2 also in the denominator. So what will happen is that we can cancel this out. Since we have canceled out 2, so what remains is 1. So ni-cancel na 1 lang mabiling dira. This one here, since we cancel out 2, we can also cancel out 2 in the denominator. So what remains here is 3. So that's the time that we can multiply the numerator and the denominator. So we have 5 times 1. Since we already have canceled out the 2. So ngano naman ni nahabilin nga 1 because naaman ni siya factor out to 2 times 1. Okay, 2 times 1. So we cancel out the 2, habilin is 1. So 5 times 1 is 5. So we write 5 over, this time we have 3 times 3 is 9. So this is 5 over 9. So this is now our final answer. Okay, let's proceed to the next example. Say you are given 3 and 7 over 3 times 2 and 2 over 5. This time we are given a mixed number. So what we need to do is to change first the mixed number to improper fraction. So how do we change this one to improper fraction? We just simply multiply the denominator and the whole number, then add to the numerator. So this will become 3 times 3 is 9 plus 7 is 16. So we can write this one here as 16 over 3. Okay? So again, balik. 3 times 3 is 9 plus 7 is 16. So that is 16 over 3. Then copy, multiply, times. Then the same, 5 times 2 is 10 plus 2 is 12. So we have 12 over 5. Okay, this time we will focus on these fractions now. Let's try to check if there are common factors. The 12 here, which is in the numerator, can be written as 4 times 3, which is 12. The purpose of which is that so that we can cancel out the 3 and the 3 in the numerator. So what will happen? We cannot factor out 16 in such a way that we can find a common factor in the denominator. So there is no need for us to factor out 16. So in this case, we can cancel out the 3 here and the 3 here. So what remains would be the 4 in the numerator and 5 in the denominator. So we have the 3 here. What remains here is 1. So when we multiply 16 times 4, again, when we multiply 16 times 4, that would give us 64. That's over 1 times 5 is of course 5. Then 64 over 5 can be changed to mixed number. So we can change 64 to mixed number, which is 12 and 4 over 5. Okay, so let me just show you how did I change 64 to mixed number to arrive at the answer 12 and 4 over 5. So this is how to change that to mixed number. So we divide 64 divided by 5. Okay, 64 divided by 5. This is 6 divided by 5 is 1. So we write there 1. 1 times 5 is of course 5. Then minus 6 minus 5 is 1. Then bring down 4. Then afterwards 14 divided by 5 is 2. Then 2 times 5 is 10. Then again subtract 14 minus 10 is 4. Since we cannot divide 4 by 5 anymore, so 4 is our remainder. So this is our whole number, which is 12, kini, and the remainder, which is 4 in the numerator, and the divisor, which is 5 in the denominator. So this is how to change your improper fraction to mixed number. Okay, now let's proceed to the next example. For example, we are given 10 over 11 times 2 over 7. Let's try to check if there are common factors. We can factor out 10, that's 5 times 2, but there's no sense of factoring 10 because there are no common factors in the denominator. Walay 5 diha, walay 2. We have 2 in the numerator, but we cannot cancel out 2 because they are both in the numerator. So since there are no common factors, we just simply multiply the two fractions directly. So we have 10 times 2 is 20. That's over 11 times 7 is 77. Okay, so this is now the final answer. Next example. 1 over 5 times 9 over 8 times 3 over 9. In this case, we have the 9 here and another 9 in the denominator. So we can cancel out 9 directly. So mahabilin there is 1 and also 1. So this becomes 1 times 1 is 1 times 3 is 3. So we write there 3 over 5 times 8 is 40, and 40 times 1 is also 40. Of course, we cannot reduce this one anymore. This is now proper fraction, so we cannot change this one to mixed number. Next, for example, we are given 15 over 20 times 3 over 5. So let's try to check if there are common factors. Since 15 can be written as 3 times 5, and there are no common factors already with 20. So there's no need for us to factor out 20. Kaya wala na laing factors dito sa ibabaw. So, this case, we have 5 here, but remains is 1. We also have 5. We also have 5 in the numerator. So, cancel ang 5. Ang mabilin diri is 1, mabilin diri is 3. So, that is 3 times 3 is equal to 9 over 20 times 1, that is 20. Again, there is no need for us to change the improper to mixed number because this is already a proper fraction. Okay, that's it for the multiplications of fractions. Let's proceed to division of fractions. So division of fractions. How do we divide fractions? When we divide fractions, this is just similar in performing operations with multiplications of fractions. There is only one slight difference here. It's about the reciprocal of the divisor. When we say divisor, it is the second fraction in the given two fractions here. For example, we have 5 over 12 divided by 1/2. So our divisor would be 1/2. When you say reciprocal, it is the reverse of the fraction. So meaning when I say 1/2, the reciprocal of 1/2 would be 2 over 1. How about 10 over 6? The reciprocal of 10 over 6 is 6 over 10. So we will just get the reverse of the fraction, or the inverse of the fraction. So how do we perform division of fractions? Say, for example, we will try example number 1. 5 over 12 divided by 1/2. Again, simply get the reciprocal of the divisor. We simply copy first the dividend, the first fraction here, which is 5 over 12. Copy. Then we get the reciprocal of the divisor, what is 1/2, so that becomes 2 over 1. Now, instead of using division, after getting the reciprocal of the divisor, we proceed to the rule on multiplication. So, maora na, that's the only difference in division of fractions. We get the reciprocal of the divisor, then afterwards proceed to the rule on multiplication. That's it. Yung ana na siya. So, then the same process as with the division, we check if there are common factors in the numerator and denominator. In this case, we have 12 here. So we can write 12 as 6 times 2 since we have 2 in the numerator. So in this case, we can cancel out now the 2 and the 2 here. So what remains here is 1 and what remains here is 6. Proceed to multiplication. 5 times 1 is 5. Copy 5. That's over 6 times 1 is 6. So this is now the final answer. Next example. We are given 7 over 3 divided by 10 over 6. Okay, so again, we copy the first fraction, 7 over 6. Instead of division, we proceed to multiplication and get the reciprocal of 10 over 6, that is 6 over 10. Then check if there are common factors. 6 can be written as 3 times 2. How about 10? We can factor out 10 as 5 times 2. Since we can also factor out 10 as 5 times 2, we factor out 10 as 5 times 2 because we have the 2 here, so that we can cancel out the 2. So in this case, we can cancel out the 2, we can cancel out the 2. So we have canceled out everything in the numerator here. So what remains is 1. What remains here is 1, and what remains here is 5. So the resulting fraction would be 7 times 1 is 7 over 1 times 5 is 5. Then change to mixed number. This is 1 and 2 over 5. So this is now the final answer. Okay, next example. Here, we are given a mixed number. The same, we change the mixed number to improper fraction. So we have 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13. That's over 2. We just simply copy first the division. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is also 13 over 4. Then, we get the reciprocal. We copy the first fraction, 3 over 2. Then proceed to multiplication. The reciprocal of 13 over 4 is 4 over 13. In this case, we have 13 here, another 13 in the denominators. We can cancel out 13. So what remains here is 1, what remains here is also 1. While the 4 can be written as 2 times 2. We have the 2 here. We also have the 2 cancel. So what remains here is 2. What remains here is 1. So the resulting fraction would be 1 times 2 is 2 over 1 times 1 is 1. 2 over 1 is equal to 2. So this is now the final answer. Next example. 2 over 5 divided by 3 over 10. Again, we copy 2 over 5. Then proceed to multiplication. Reciprocal, 3 over 10, that becomes 10 over 3. Then factor out common. We can write 10 as 5 times 2. So we can cancel out the 5 and the 5 here. Then what remains is 2, what remains is 1. So this is 2 times 2 is 4 over 1 times 3 is 3. So improper fraction, we can write this one as 1 and 1/3. 3/4 is equal to 1 and 1/3. Last example. So mixed number, change to improper fraction. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 1 is 15. We copy over 7. Copy first division. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 2 is 30 over 7. This time, we get the reciprocal. So copy 15 over 7. Proceed to multiplication. The reciprocal of 30 over 7 is 7 over 30. Then, we factor out 30. We can write that one as 15 times 2. This case, we have 15 here and 15 cancel out. So what remains is 1. What remains here is 2. Then we can cancel out also 7. What remains here is 1. What remains here is 1. So, we have cancelled out already 15. So, 1 times 1, ang nabilin sa numerator, o sa numerator there is 1. So, 1 times 1 is 1 over 1 times, what remains here is 2. So, 1 times 2 is 2. So, our final answer is 1/2. Okay, so I hope maka-learn something for elementary students, and of course the parents who would be helping their students in this new normal. I hope you get something new lesson for this video. Thank you and God bless.